just a few questions regarding a UPSC board experience, like what they expect from a learner. ऐसा कभी हुआ है आपके साथ कि कैंडिडेट आया और 5 मिनट में ही आपने रूल आउट कर लिया कि ये तो फाइनल लिस्ट में नहीं आ सकता? इज सेइंग आई डोंट नो फॉर अ आंसर is better than guessing the answer incorrectly? Do board prefer balanced personality or strong opinions more? According to you, what irritates the board most? Arrogance or underconfidence? How many marks do you think are too many for a candidate? One habit you want to tell to every student who is coming for the marks, so what would be that? Hello and welcome to Unacademy. We have with us Mr. Mrinal sir and Mr. Anil Sengar sir, who are part of our mock interview board from last 4 years. So we'll be asking some questions related to mock interview experience and what they expect from the candidates. So let's start. Sir, just a few questions regarding a UPSC board experience, like what they expect from a learner. So can a candidate get rejected even after answering most of the questions, and what really goes wrong?
You see, once candidate appears before the board, actually his knowledge as per se is not being tested. His suitability for the job is being tested. He may have answered all the questions and probably come to a conclusion that all his questions which he answered was right. Maybe it is right, it is wrong. But the manner in which his presentation is there, that reflects whether he has the capacity to understand a question, frame his answers cogently and then spell it out. So this leads to what we say, whether the person is mentally alert, his understanding is clear or it is smudged, and whether the thing which he is trying to say is logical or not. Once having said that, the candidate sometimes, even after answering most of the questions, finds that his name is not in the final list. Then somewhere down the line there must have been some slip up here and there, because since the vacancies are defined, so the cutoff marks for the interview is very thinly missed.
Sir, ऐसा कभी हुआ है आपके साथ कि कैंडिडेट आया और 5 मिनट में ही आपने रूल आउट कर लिया कि ये तो फाइनल लिस्ट में नहीं आ सकता? तो ऐसा कुछ हुआ है, और या फिर मतलब ऐसे क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स या ट्रेट्स होते हैं जो कि ऐसा सोचने पर मजबूर कर देते हैं आपको?
See, you are right that 5 minutes is a long time in interview, and that 5 minutes gives you a good impression of what that candidate is like. So in 5 minutes he would have answered about 3 questions, So that gives you a pretty good idea of the way he is, and it is not that you reject him after 5 minutes, but that will give you an impression which by and large is confirmed over a period of the interview. So you do make an impression in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Sir, is saying I don't know for an answer is better than guessing the answer incorrectly?
See, the best part is that if you do not have an answer to a question, then one should admit it instead of making a guessing game. Here an element of integrity also comes in, whether you are truthful to yourself. So if you don't know the answer to a question, then it is advisable that you please say that I don't have an answer to this question. If you permit me, I can make a guess. If permitted, you try. If not, they will switch over to some other question, because nobody, including the panelists, can claim that I have an answer to all the questions.
Right. So sir, like in personality test, what do you think UPSC judges more, knowledge, personality or judgment? So what do you think is the most important of all three?
People say that it is a personality test and your knowledge has been already tested. But I have a little different view from the general party line that you'll hear in the interview, is that knowledge test is over, but you cannot do well in an interview unless you have good knowledge. You will not have that confidence. You will not come across as a person who can think straight. So I would start by saying that the foundation of a good interview starts with a good knowledge base, right? Thereafter, what are you looking at? When you're looking at a candidate, you're looking at him to work in a country which is so diverse in so many ways, different challenges it faces. So we are looking at a candidate who's ethical, who's secular, and who's rational. So if he fulfills these 3 criteria in answering, a lot of candidates come here, they'll give you, okay, you ask him a question on foreign policy, He says something, and then during the feedback when you discuss with him, he says, sir, I said that because Foreign Minister Jaishankar said that. We are not interviewing Jaishankar here. You know, Jaishankar may have said a particular thing based on certain context. So what we are expecting that candidate is based on his studies to give his views which are suitably justified by facts, figures and logic. So we are really looking at his rationality and not knowledge in that sense.
Right, sir. And sir, what do you think, like what common mistakes does learner makes in their body language once they come for the mock interviews here?
You see, the body language is a very major factor once the candidate enters the room. He comes with a sloppy face, then perhaps it comes to mind whether he is slightly confused from the beginning, whether he is not confident of himself. So many a times when the candidate is even answering a question, if a question which is palatable to him is put, he is able to answer it. But once a question is put to him about which he has no clue whatsoever, then his body language perceptibly changes. That at that point of time, the dryness on his face, sometimes there is perspiration, sometimes fidgetry movement of hands, it shakes. Now these things should need to be avoided. When a person of this nature is there, it gives out an impression that under pressure or with no pressure also, he perhaps is not suitable for the job for which he is being interviewed.
Right. So, sir, according to you, what irritates the board most, arrogance or underconfidence?
Certainly arrogance, you know, because if a person is arrogant at this stage, then you can imagine what will happen to him when he is in a position of authority. So the ultimate test of a man is that how he behaves when he gets power. When he is arrogant here, it's a clear indication of the personality that he is, and that is what it irritates more than being underconfident. You don't get irritated by underconfidence, but then you do form an impression based on his underconfidence, you know.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
So, sir, does UPSC really care about current affairs, or does it only testing the personality?
See, while assessing the personality of a person, one thing is looked into is whether he is aware of his surroundings. Because in a real life situation, holding an important position either in the district or in the field in which he is there, if he is not aware of what is happening around him, perhaps his job becomes very difficult.
Right.
And therefore, it is but natural that the current affairs which is happening around him, current affair includes here all what is happening around him, the place where he is, the state where he is coming from, the country from which one is there, and certain other things which impinge upon our country. It is expected that he will have a rational view on it, but if he is, you know, not prepared, then something is terribly wrong.
Right.
One could be, one day one candidate had come here while doing the interview. He was asked, while coming, what did you see in the corridor? Now there was a beautiful painting which was there in the corridor which just cannot miss anybody's eyes. He missed it. So he was totally lost when he entered the room. And then a further question was asked. Something is there on the back of the seat where the person was sitting. And there is an Ashok emblem there. So when asked, can you look forward and see what is there? He was looking left, right. Once you are being told look forward, then he is supposed to see the wall in front of him. Now all these things helps in understanding the psyche of the person concerned. That is one. Two, whether he is alive to the situation. And if he is not alive, then what is wrong with him? Such persons who face the interview like this will not be a fit person for the job for which he is being interviewed.
So, sir, do board prefer balanced personality or strong opinions more?
Well, the board would prefer a balanced personality because, as I said, the requirement is being ethical, rational and secular. So, if you look at India and its diversity, there is no one-size-fits-all situation that will fit every situation. If the parliament today takes a decision for something, it may suit North India, it will not suit South India. It will suit East India, it will not suit West India. Therefore, you have to have a very balanced approach to taking decisions and policy formulations. which looks at the entirety of the peculiarities of India, and therefore being balanced is more important than being a strong personality. He also has to function in an environment where he has to be able to appreciate others' points of view, other situation, and then having understood the larger picture, then come to something which is the best solution in that particular situation.
Yes, sir. So, sir, what signals do you get from an interview candidate that he'll be a good administrator or not?
You see, it's a difficult question, but the process under which he has finished his, schooling thereafter and other things which comes up tertiarily during the course of the interview. You are looking at him basically from the point of view that he is going to make a good administrator. Now, for that there are certain parameters which needs to be looked into. Can he take a decision? Can he take a decision under pressure? Can he show some leadership qualities? Can he accept others' views? Can he or she understand others' views and not only appreciate it, but even if it has not to be taken into account, whether he has a reason for it. Now, all these things, when a candidate comes, by talking to him or her, you are able to fathom out how this personality is behaving. To illustrate, there was a candidate who comes and is asked where you have done your schooling, and he reels out a number of schools where he had attended, something like 9 or 10 schools. Maybe it is true also. And in between, he started fumbling because he was trying to remember certain things. Now, what exactly has happened here? He has overloaded his thinking, and this leads to the interview going haywire. Then he started weeping. He had to be taken out, given some time, and then after some 2 hours, he comes, and this time he is a completely changed person. He does his interview very well. What happened in between was revealed later on when he was spoken to. He said when he entered, his mother had died, and he came to the interview board with that thing in the mind. So, he did not listen to the question properly. The question put to him was, where did you study last? So, instead of answering that question, he started reeling out the schools, etc., 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 where he had studied. These small things sometimes creates certain problems.
Sir, sir, does excessive smiling or politeness, so it makes interview non-serious?
Yes, excess of anything is not desirable because this is a very formal occasion, right? And there are people who have a lot of experience. They're mostly about 60 years of age. So, little bit of smile which is relevant to what is being discussed is welcome, but constantly smiling all the time does not do him any good. And the other thing that you asked was more about?
Politeness.
Politeness also, it can't be a put-on politeness. People speak in a certain manner. So, it has to be very natural. That candidates have to remember that you have to be as natural as possible under the circumstances. You are under anxiety, you are a little nervous, and there is a certain kind of put-on behavior also here, because you see, when we see people walk in, they walk in with their hands clasped. Nobody walks like that on the street. So, when they enter, they must be as natural as possible. They must, during the interview, try and be as natural both in terms of physical expression as well in terms of everything else. That should be their effort.
Okay. So, sir, how many mocks can be too many mocks for a candidate? Because too many feedbacks can be confusing also sometimes for the candidates. So, how many mocks do you think are too many for a candidate?
You see, times have changed. When I got into the service, I did not go to any mocks. Now, people go to mocks, and there are candidates who, when prodded, have confessed that they went to a mock earlier. What advice you are giving me now, completely a contradictory advice was given there. What do I do? How do I overcome this? There is always a pressure that yes, the advice given can be contradictory. It is easier than said. Very many mocks is not desirable. Even if you are attending very many mocks, then you should be in a position to fathom out which mocks were positive and that positivity has to be carried. Otherwise, if negativity comes in, then certainly on the D-Day, that is when he is going to face the interview, the legacy of this contradictory nature of advices, if not properly followed, can ruin the interview. It should be avoided. So, not very many mocks should be.
So sometimes, sir, panelists suggest to change some personality traits to the candidate. So should the person change some personality traits also during their UPSC interview?
You see, you cannot change your personality traits in 2 weeks. So that's if somebody is giving that advice, it's a wrong advice. But here at the Academy, what we try and do is suggest him those things which can help him project a better image of himself. So we might actually suggest him that if he is speaking too fast, so we tell him to be a little more deliberate. If he is speaking in a very low voice, or if his energy level is less, or he is looking very anxious and nervous, we try him to work on that aspect. But personality trait you cannot change, and I don't think that should be advised.
Okay. Sir, if a candidate has 15 days left for his UPSC interview, so what do's and don'ts you can suggest to the candidate?
See, what I can suggest to the candidate is try and be as natural as possible. Work on your positive or plus points as well as also on some of the negative points which are being pointed out. For example, a candidate came, he was stammering while answering a question. So, he was advised how he could do a certain exercise by which his stammering will be reduced. Perhaps it cannot be wiped out, but it can be reduced. One advice also was given that you break your sentence, take pauses, and now sometimes little bit of input towards change in this thing can help. This candidate, he later on confessed that he stood before a mirror and tried to do this exercise by video recording from his mobile the things, and he did it for
Sir, like if you want to suggest anything for a candidate, what he should stop immediately now, so what could be that?
In terms of how much time does he have before the interview?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it all depends. Our feedback depends on a lot of factors. It's not a one-size-fits-all feedback. If he has 7 days, our feedback is different. If he has 6 weeks, our feedback is different. So if he has more time, then we give him a detailed feedback on what he needs to work. But if a candidate has just 7 days left, then what we tell him is to turn and relax and remain updated with whatever is happening by reading a couple of newspapers, and those are the kind of things, because that's all that he can do. But if it's a candidate who's got 6 weeks, then our feedback is entirely different. Okay. Now, if a candidate has 7 days, then you can't tell him to change his speed of speech, or you can't change his mannerism too much. So it all depends on how much time he has and how good that candidate is. Sometimes candidates are so good that you don't really have to tell them anything. Yeah.
So, sir, one last question from you. So, if there is one habit you want to tell to every student who is coming for the mock, so what would be that? So, one habit they should start immediately. So, what should be that?
Many times I have told some of them that you try to concentrate. One such candidate who was a girl, I told her that you are very good, but you tend to speak more than what is required actually. How do you stop this thing from happening? You do one thing, you look at a blank wall, see anything there, or put a circle there, or a small circle there, or hang a picture, do something and look straight and close your eyes and meditate for 1 minute. Meditating even for a minute is very, very difficult. So, you improve your concentration, you will find the change taking place. She practiced on it. She had taken my number from the academy and rang me up one day. Sir, it is very difficult to concentrate even for a minute. So, what should I do? I said, you please early morning tomorrow, you get up, go into the veranda, relax there, close your eyes, look towards the sun. You will find that slowly heat is getting generated in your eyes. At that point of time, perhaps your concentration, you will find that yes, you are concentrating on something, and she did it, and it helped her in modulating her preferences and how to tackle the board.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All the
Pleasure.
best.
Sir,
Thank you.
thank you.